you should definitely head down there. So we look forward to having him back with us, like I say, around the 16th or 17th of this month. And I'm sure he's going to be recharged and rejuvenated and ready to take you all on some wonderful safaris. Stefan will be leaving tomorrow, and we're not sure when he will be back. He's got some prior commitments with other work, but there's a plan to get him back out here and lead a few more of the walking safaris. And there is also a plan to get the rest of us presenters up to scratch with the necessary qualifications required to do walking safaris, even though myself and the other presenters have all had those qualifications in the past. Because we've been working in other African countries, we haven't been required to keep those certain tests and qualifications up to date, and therefore we have to redo exams, redo the rifle, advanced rifle handling assessments as one of the things we have to do. But anyway, there is a plan and process. So just to put you on who is coming and who is going. Andrew's also headed off on leave today, one of the cameramen, so he's off for 2 weeks break. And he's actually headed straight from here to another beautiful game reserve in KwaZulu-Natal, in my home province, which is called Shlui. And it's a beautiful reserve in a different area to this, so different vegetation, different trees. But interesting that from working in the bush, he's gone on holiday in the bush. It's often quite nice to head back to the city and get those luxuries that come along with living in a city. But it just goes to show how much he loves being in the bush. Sorry, last station, go again. Also Brent out on the other vehicle searching, out on Arethusa, and keep us guessing, and that's why this afternoon and this morning so far we have not been able to find you a leopard. But it certainly does help us greatly spending time with them, understanding potential pathways that they like to move down, vectors or sections where they will scent mark along the boundaries of their territories. And only now, after close on 6 months in this area, am I beginning to get comfortable with the property and the animals that move through it. So it takes at least 6 months, I think, to become vaguely comfortable with the property you're driving around. That is also bearing in mind that we're traveling on quite a small property here relative to what the other guides would traverse in the same area of the Sabi Sands. So that's also helped condense the learning time because the property is quite small. Good afternoon. know, you can send through questions to either Brent or myself, and to do that, you would hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and that's what Bulleray has done. Or you could send an email through to questions@WildEarthTV. Well, thanks for sending through your question, Bulleray, and she is interested to know whether or not, or why rather, we can tell and how we can tell when a francolin, a small bird, is letting off their alarm call. And it's basically just a frenzy of as they fly off into the bush. It's got nothing to do with their normal melodic call, and you can literally hear them panicking as if they're screaming, and it's just a very distinct call that you get used to. I guess it's easier when we are here watching the leopard chase the francolin, or seeing the francolin get a fright, to associate that call. But it's a high-pitched, intense call that's very easy to distinguish from their regular, more melodic and calm call. I feel that I didn't explain that very well, Bulleray, but I hope you understand where I'm going with this. And no doubts, if you tune into enough safaris, you will get the opportunity to hear that call, and then you'll know exactly what we mean. So, here we are. This is the test of time. Will there be anyone at the dam? So far, it's looking pretty peaceful here. And other than a lone grey heron that flew off to the opposite side of the dam from us, it doesn't appear to be too much going on, but we'll give it a few minutes, stop and listen, and see what the bush can tell us. Well, considering that there doesn't seem to be too much life here, let's see what's happening at another dam on the property over with Brent. We'll catch up with you a little bit later. Welcome back, everyone. We're at the Arathusa Dam, a nice group of buffalo bulls. Nice cool weather. There's quite a bit of sort of playing, a little bit of spar fighting, a little bit to the right there, Brian. Oh no, he's doing the stage show. You're on the right shots. There we go. Now that's dominance. I mean, that's two males, but mounting the other male is a sign of dominance. There are some younger bulls in this group as well. Not the really old. There are some really old dagger boys, but I can see a couple of bulls who possibly still might join up with herds again, like that one there in the center of shot at the moment. Can you hear them? The one who's being horned, complaining. Here we go, some mounting behavior again. So even amongst these old bulls or these old bachelor groups, there will be a hierarchy. Can actually hear the horns clinking from here. The temperature's dropping quite quickly. I'm getting very chilly. It's amazing. It almost seems like the whole bush has sort of taken a day off after that big rainstorm. Everyone's sort of very quiet.
So before we stumbled across these buffalo bulls, we went to go check the last position of the Tsalala breakaway pride. Unfortunately, it looks like the tracks have gone further to the south, outside of our Travis area. So we decided to come have a look at the dam, see what was cracking, and we found a nice big group of buffalo bulls, and they're sort of playing. So quite nice, not normally as they normally are, just sitting in one place. A bit of sparring going on, some dominance displays, mounting displays. I mean, even though this isn't a real fight, it's not very serious, you see how they try to hook under. So to try get the curve of that hook sort of under the ear. So watch, that's what the battle's for. Then you get the sharp part of your horn into this. There we go. Oh, the one on the right's definitely better at getting that little hook around. Oh, there we go. See, it's very close to the eye. Come on, guys, we're trying to watch there. Oh, there. Incredibly hard, those bosses. Unbelievably thick layer of matted hair. Oh, there's another little sparring session going on. There are some hippos behind us, but we'll go have a look what they're up to just now. I think these buffalo look like they're going to start moving, and they'll move away from the water's edge. They normally go sleep up on the crests where it's a bit warmer. As they're starting to meander away from the water as it's getting cooler. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to scoot around onto the dam wall and go have a quick look at some hippopotami. Copy last station. I'm not copying you very well. Please can you go again with that message. We got a group of Egyptian geese. Now, what they're doing out on the short grassland is they're grazers. So they are grazing grass. There's some nice little bit of green growth, even as quickly from that little bit of rain last night. So there's a flock of geese grazing. Egyptian geese. Pyramid ducks, if you get confused. Okay, let's go have a look at those hippos. I can hear them snorting behind me. Good afternoon, Kirsten from the Netherlands. Welcome on your sunset safari with us. Kirsten would like to know, or says if she had to sit in water for 12 hours like a buffalo, her skin would get really, really messed up. So she would like to know how a buffalo can sit in water for that long. Because the reason they do it is to get away from parasites like flies and ticks. So what they'll do is they'll often sit in the water to avoid, or especially to avoid flies, but if you see them rolling in the mud, they are caking themselves in that mud. So when the mud hardens and they start rubbing against a tree or a rock, the tick will be encased and fall out with the mud. But their skin is much, much thicker than ours, and that's probably why they're able to sit for so long. Their skin is very, very thick and very, very tough. We're gonna stop here and have a look at the hippopotami that are right in front of Arathusa Lodge. Good evening, Genevieve. Welcome on your sunset safari. Genevieve would like to know what is all the plant life and greenery in the dam. Most of that looks to be purple panweed. I can't remember the Latin name, but I'm sure there's different types of oxygen grasses and that under the water, but I can't be 100% sure. I know there's buffalo right up at the back. Those hippos don't seem to be wanting to be seen, keeping a low profile. Very picturesque spot this. They're all over this place, the hippos. Good evening, Look for Lions. Welcome on Sunset Safari. There's a special request of me doing the hippo imitations. So that we will do that shortly for you, Look for Lions. But I think we're actually going to go look for some lions next. We'll try to at least. I'm going to check the western side of the dam and up back towards, slowly making our way towards Djuma. I was hoping the hippos are going to call. How's that? Ask and you shall receive. It's amazing how sometimes just that tiny little nose sticks out. That looks like a young hippo, probably riding on mom's back still. Oh, opening mouth to the right. Ah, so close. So the hippos will start getting ready to get moving. They're gonna head out and start grazing now. So, oh, there you go. Do you think they got it? No answer. Need to work on my hair part. I need to work on my hippo.
I think the pronunciation was off.
Yes. Maybe I only speak the northern Botswanan dialect of hippopotamus. Okay, well, it's that time of the day when lions and leopards like to start getting moving. So I think we're going to do the same. And hopefully we will bump into one of those two. And we've been so spoiled in recent weeks with cats, but we've got to remember that it is the bush, and we don't just open a latch and out come the big and scaries. Sometimes we've got to work quite hard for them. But Hopefully we don't go into the dam. From Canada, welcome on the Sunset Safari. Blair would like to know, does all that floating vegetation ever die off seasonally? There will be a little bit of die off during the winter months or the dry months coming up, Blair, but no, it's not really going to ever sort of disappear. Occasionally outbreaks, or not outbreaks, I suppose is the wrong word, but large emergences of certain insects can bring a beta duck quite a lot, but that only happens every couple of years. It's sort of nature controlling itself. So this drainage line we're going to be heading along now is a favorite of Shadow's. So I'm hoping at this time of the day she might be out moving on one of the roads. Evening, Gene from Idaho. Welcome on Sunset Safari. Gene would like to know, are there any animals that hunt hippos? Well, Gene, there are. Lions are possibly the ones that hunt hippos the most and most regularly, and especially in... Oh, sorry, Gene from Los Angeles, not Idaho. Gene would like to know what animals hunt hippo, and as I was saying, lots, quite a few different species. Lions are probably the most well-known sort of hippo hunters. Depending on the area, so certain areas in Zambia and southern Tanzania, where you've got very high densities of hippo in shallow rivers, and the hippo get pushed out of the river systems during the dry months. As the water dries up, there's a lot more competition. There's lion prides that specialize in hippo. The only other animal I've actually seen take hippo is hyena. I saw a clan of 12 hyena actually harass and bite a hippo for about 3.5–4 hours till the loss of blood was enough for the hippo to sort of just give up. So they just managed to keep it from getting back to the river. That was also in northern Botswana. But I think those are probably the only two major predators, obviously outside of human beings, who would hunt hippo. In the central area of Botswana during the dry season, historically, I'm going back probably 300 years and before, the way they used to hunt hippo was very, very cruel. So these large acacia thorns that we see, so basically what they used to do is they'd build an acacia fence around a pool of water that has been separated. So this is only in areas where the rivers dry up quite a bit, and so they would build this thorn fence, and they would make sure that the hippos could only walk out of 2 or 3 very narrow paths, and then they would put as many sharp sticks, stones, thorns, etc. on those very narrow paths, which caused the hippos to get sort of very sore and damaged feet, and also stopped them being so mobile, which enabled them to be able to spear them. Not the nicest way, but back then it was very much survival, and if you managed to get a hippo for your village, you could dry that meat and you would have meat for a very long time. Another way from Zambia which I saw, which is very interesting is a spear drop trap. That they've been used all over Africa for things like hippo and elephant. Basically, there's a little catch on a hippo path or elephant path, and there's a heavily weighted spearhead above it. And as the hippo or elephant walks underneath, it sets off the trap, and the trap drops straight into the animal's back. Quite often, not going in the right place, so not a very effective way. You lose a lot of animals, but they were able to sort of relatively safely attempt to hunt one of those large herbivores. Oh, this one's a big one. Whoa, big bumps. No tracks yet, but we're still working the edge of this drainage line. For those of you who are just joining us, or maybe stepped out for a cup of tea or something, we are looking in an area that's frequented quite often by Shadow and her cub, and just checking the roads on the edge of this thicket of the drainage line, see if there are any tracks. We went and had a look where the lions were yesterday. Unfortunately, they've gone further south, so we're hoping that we can spot a shadow in this area, but it's proving to be quite a quiet afternoon. So I think I'm going to have to start asking you guys more questions till we can find something. And I know no, that one's too easy. Let's find something a bit harder. Looking. Good evening, Thelma from Michigan. Thelma would like to know if there are any fish in these waterholes we visit. Yes, Thelma, there are. I don't actually have my fish book with me. The most common fish in these is a type of catfish called a sharp-toothed catfish. And they can... Oh, there's Franklin alarm calling, but with this wind, as the wind picked up, it might just be a false alarm. Yeah, it hasn't carried on the high-pitched afterwards that they do, like when they see a leopard. Sorry, Thelma, back to you. Also, Thelma, there are probably 2 or 3 tilapia species and 1 or 2 barb species. The tilapia that's indigenous to this area, the main tilapia species, you guys in the States will know as the tilapia you get in your supermarkets. Or not almost. It's called a Mozambique tilapia or tilapia mozambicans. But the type and they're the best eating out of the tilapias, the nicest tasting. But I think a lot of the tilapia that are farmed in the States are hybrids between 2 species of tilapia, the Mozambique tilapia, which is considered the best eating, and the Nile tilapia, which is the fastest growing. So, very interesting that the tilapia you guys buy that is farmed in the States as a food source, and you can get it in most of your grocery shops. Tilapia they're both African species, the hybrid that is farmed from. So guys, to let you know, I'm moving quite close to the edge of Arathusa now, the boundary between Djuma and Arathusa. I'm going to check up towards our touch rugby field quickly at Knobthorne Pan and see if anything's there. Other than that, I think I'm going to duck back into Djuma, but I'll let you know when I do that. Also, just a little update on the weather. As you can see, the wind's picked up quite a lot. Temperatures dropped again. Brian's already all kitted out. Jackets on, jerseys on. I think I'm going to be following suit quite soon. I think it's going to be quite a chilly one tonight. Nothing quite like you're used to, but for us soft African boys who spend their time in the sunshine, anything below about 70 degrees Fahrenheit is too cold for us. We prefer it warm. I mean, even this afternoon was just pushing at 73. I was slightly uncomfortable for a while. But I manned out and didn't take the blanket out till later. That wind. Alright guys, let's play a game. I've got some questions for you. Let's have a think. There we go. What area of Africa has the largest body size, average body size for elephants? And a sub-question: how big was the heaviest elephant ever recorded in the wild? And where was that animal recorded from? And you can send your answers to questions at WildEarthTV, or you could just use the hashtag SafariLive if you're on Twitter. So, what area in Africa has the average largest body size for elephants, and where and how heavy was the largest elephant bull ever recorded? Sorry guys, just listening to the radio. Okay, just getting a quick update for what's happening around. Just to let you go, I know there's a lot of you out there who really love the Nkahuma pride lines. So apparently they are lying up a couple of 100 meters to the north of our eastern boundary. Or northwest of our eastern boundary. So hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow morning we'll come in into Djuma. So let's go past the touch rugby field. Maybe there'll be more animals than just a bunch of 20 boys on it today. From Oklahoma, welcome on the Sunset Safari. Jimlin would like to know, do any of the big cats ever climb in water to cool off after eating a big kill? Or do they ever utilize the water? Jimlin, some of them do. African cats are not the biggest fans of water, depending on the area that they're in. And But, for example, tigers and jaguars, two big cats that occur out of Africa, utilize water to cool off, and a jaguar even uses it, and tigers even utilize it to hunt from. So that's really interesting. Lions around here, I mean, they will cross rivers, they will walk in water, they don't like it. I mean, I love watching the lions when they want to go cross a bit of water, because they sort of, you see them, they get ready and they get near the water and they go, whoops, and they go, and you put the tail, and then it just thinks, oh, crocodile. And they go, and they start snarling at the water, even though there's nothing there. But even before their toe just dips under, and they're very grumpy, and they do that sort of high step to try and get through the water quickly. Yet then you go up to northern Botswana, where lions will swim 150 meters across in a lagoon in the Okavango Delta, where it's a very waterlogged area. So with a lot of animal behavior, you've got to realize that the behavior is area specific rather than species specific. So the Sabi Sands lions here probably would not try swim across something, whereas a lion from Botswana or from the Kafue in Zambia would definitely swim across a large river, 100, 200 meters. So it's very interesting that. That was a very nice question. Thanks very much, gentlemen. And the touch rugby field is barren. Guys, I'm just going to check this last little corner of Arethusa. We're going to cut across to Scotty. Hopefully he's having a bit more luck than we're at the moment. And we'll catch up with you a little later. Have fun with Scott.
Welcome back, everyone. And it sounds like you've been having a scenic sunset session at the Arethusa Dam, and what a beautiful setting it is at this stage of the day. I'm not sure if the wind had picked up where you were with Brent. We're probably about 5 or 6 miles away from him, and the wind has really picked up here and is making for a cold and moody evening. It's typically not the best weather to find game in. Why, I'm not too sure, because it's not like they can hide in bunkers underground. But it does often appear to be more difficult to find animals in this kind of a weather. Maybe it's just me and my luck. It is great weather for hunting though, because in this low light, predators will have less chance of being detected by their prey, and also importantly, their approach will be muffled. The sound of their pads slowly approaching their prey will be muffled by all the wind and leaves rustling. So if we do manage to find something, and it is a predator, we may stand a chance of watching it successfully hunt. It's not something that we get to share with you very often, but it's a great evening in terms of weather for that. It's also a great time of year because the impala are rutting, and the men are basically running around like madmen, focused only on chasing away other males and trying to secure as many females as possible. And it's when they are in this rut-induced rage of excitement that they may drop their guard and become easy prey for the predators. And funnily enough, the road we are driving down is called Impala Plains, and there are often impala in this area. What I've noticed in my years following leopard is that leopard will respond directly to the loud gurgling roar of male impalas rutting. Even if the leopard is asleep, it could hear these impala rutting and then wake up and head straight there, knowing that there's a chance of an easy meal. And here is a male impala. I did see a few females, but they've disappeared behind the bushes. But it will be interesting to spend a few moments here. Ah, there's some of his ladies. And watch him run around, and potentially we may even see him let off this quite comical gurgling, burping roar that the males perform to show their size and dominance over other males. They will occasionally fight with one another, and when they do, it often doesn't end in death, but occasionally it does. And I've actually found a few impala that have been killed by other males when fighting. You can see they're quite skittish, and that is because of the wind. They know that one of their senses, hearing, has been muffled, and that is why they're looking quite nervous. That, coupled with the fact that they've got this excited male that's running around them, not now, but certainly would have been during the day. Good evening, Ellen from Arkansas, and welcome on board with us. Just seen them run off. They looked intently into the bushes and then ran off. So I'm just heading into this area to see what they ran from. It could just be that they're nervous because of the wind, or they may have seen something. Now back to Ellen. Good evening. And Ellen is interested to know what would happen if a male impala got killed. Would there be another male impala to take over? And there certainly would be. Because the rutting season is so intense, the males will compete aggressively, and there will always be males lingering around a currently dominant male, trying to get rid of him. And the males may often only be dominant for a few days before they become too tired from running around and mating, and that may make space for another male to come through. So there's no shortage of willing males that would gladly take over from a male that may be killed. It's an ongoing battle that they have to keep other males at bay, and it lasts for about 1 month. A very short, intense rut. And what that does to help the impala's success rates, when the youngsters are born, there's only a 1 month window where predators will be able to capitalize on young, inexperienced and weaker calves, or calves rather, impala lambs rather. So that is one of the reasons why they are such successful herbivores, and probably the most numerous of all the antelope here. Well, it seems that the impala just had a false alarm there and ran off for no apparent reason, but that's not untypical behavior in this windy weather. Some hyena tracks on the road there. I got confused for a second. I thought they could be leopard. Got another question come through, and it's from Teresa in Virginia Beach. Welcome on board with us. Teresa is interested to know a question that has completely slipped my mind. Now, one thing I'm not good at doing is multitasking, and as soon as I stopped and looked at the tracks, I didn't copy the message very clearly. Okay, but that doesn't matter. Sorry I didn't answer your question, Therese. I will answer it later. But over to Brent. He's got something exciting. See you later.
Welcome back, guys. We are right on the boundary of our property. Unfortunately, what you're seeing there is just outside our property. This is the closest we can get, but it is a male leopard on a kill, and it looks like he's been here for a day or two already. Maybe not. It's difficult to see what the kill is. I'm gonna guess it's quarantine. You guys can give me a hand if you guys see any recognizing features, please. You can see there's that very distinct landing strip off the tail. When I first got you, I thought it might be a bit big to be quarantine, but I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can have a look, see if you recognize anything, and let me know which leopard this is. Obviously, it's quite difficult without being able to see his face. And you can send those answers to questions at WildEarthTV, or you can just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. There's two hyena coming in behind us. They should arrive shortly. Brian's just let me know there's actually 4 hyena coming in. This could get quite exciting. So how we found him is we were heading along the boundary, and I bumped into Doug, a friend of mine who works at another lodge, and he was like, did you know there was a leopard there? We were like, no. So we stopped on the road, and on the main boundary road, and we can just see him feeding up in the tree there. I do think it is quarantine, just looking again at that very distinct landing strip. But it looks big though. But I think quarantine. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I also think quarantine.
What we'll do is we'll wait for the hyena to come in. There's one of the youngsters. They've already started traveling. Yep. So one of the cubs is they go out from about 6 months. We're going to get the hyenas now shortly, but there are 4 of them moving in. Sorry guys, the silence is we're just watching the hyenas to see if they've actually realized that there's a leopard on a kill here yet. The wind is coming from their back, so they won't be able to smell the kill. And here comes it looks like they're coming in closer now. So as I was saying, one of the cubs from the den, there we go, they've worked it out. Watch their tails starting to get a little bit more erect. You can hear see, they haven't figured out exactly where it is. The leopard might lift his head and look at them if he hears them, but he's not, he's just carrying on feeding. But if the hyenas get underneath, he might. We can hear the hyenas start getting excited. Just hear them in the bush. There comes one out. See, tails are up, bit of excitement. The youngsters running around. There we go. Nice. So the kill is quite safe up there. There's all 4 of them there. See how the little one's got his tail up. So this is, we're probably going to be seeing less and less activity at the den unless some new cubs are born, because from about this age, they will still stay around the den quite a lot, but they will go out foraging with the adults. So guys, unfortunately we can't stay too long. There's another car who's waiting to get into the sighting very patiently. So I'm going to move out and give... Oh, let's just wait. It's right next to us here, Brian. The little one. Just have two more minutes with the hyenas. So that's one of the youngsters from the den. Probably as the crow flies from the den, we're about 2.5, 3 kilometers. But you can see, even at this age, a little bit risky to take the youngsters out, but they do, and that's how they do. They start learning the clan territory and getting ready for adult life. You can still see a little bit nervous. I think if there was a lion around, this guy would already be running home. Okay, we have one final look at what we think's Q up in the tree. Unfortunately, as I said, we can't go any closer. It's in the neighboring property, and also there are other vehicles waiting, and they're coming now, so we've got to get moving. But that's really, really fantastic. At least we know where he is, and he's right on the boundary, so hopefully he moves in. He moves in back to Djuma when that carcass is done. Thanks, guys. Please apologize to everyone. I don't have comms. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, Sid. Cheers, buddy. It's also causing quite a traffic jam here, being on the main road. There's cars coming in from all directions, so we're gonna skedaddle. But dude, isn't that exciting? We got to see, it wasn't the best sighting of leopard we had, but...
Still a leopard.
Exactly. I used to work with this tracker called Nick the elephant. And he used to say, even if you see just the tail, a leopard is a leopard. Finished. So, we saw a leopard. And some hyenas. More hyenas at here than there were at the den. Interestingly enough. How's it, everyone? How you guys doing? How's it, Moray? Nice to see you. Oh, enjoy, guys. Hope you guys have a good evening. We'll see you guys soon. Sorry, I was just saying hello to one of the game drive vehicles that's on its way to see that leopard. So that's interesting. So from where Hayden saw quarantine crossed, if it is quarantine, I'm not 100%, it's a very long way from there, and he crossed right down into the south, and he's now in the west. Very interesting. Okay, guys, thanks very much for your comments and stuff like that. They think it might be Mvula. As I said, I thought it might be a bit too big for quarantine. Mvula apparently also has a landing strip. I did not realize that. I'd only really noticed quarantines. But I'm definitely going to have to go back into my photos and look and recognize that. That's a really nice tip. Thanks, guys, for being able to identify Mvula. But as I said, yeah, he looked a bit too big for me. He's very thick in the neck. And then also quite a few of you wondering what the kill was. Unfortunately, I couldn't see from where we were. All I saw was a rib cage with no skin on it, so the skin had already been taken off. So just judging from the general size of the kill, it's probably an impala or maybe a female inyala or a bushbuck, just judging from the size of the kill that's left there. thanks very much, Jilly from Milwaukee. Jilly's just letting me know that quarantine's like you're far quicker at doing leopards than we are. So well done, and I am going to change my statement. I'd say that was really nice to see Mvula. We have good to see Mvula. Still don't know where quarantine is. Cancel everything else I said. But it is going to be quite interesting. We have heard a big male leopard calling around the camp, and that was last night. So this would make sense that it is Mvula, and only the dominant male is gonna call while he's moving through an area. So you guys, just gonna give me 1 second. I just need to get my spotlight out. Ask for a hand there, please, bro. Thank you. So, we're going to go into that area that Stephen, Scott and I have been calling the dark hole, because we've gone in, we've found leopard tracks there quite often, they just haven't panned out for us. And that happened following, there must have been Mvula's tracks yesterday, because we followed those tracks, but we didn't get any luck. There we go. There's our spotlighty. It's almost at half light at the moment. So I'm not sure. Balance the spotlights. Just give me 1 second, guys, and then it will be nice and stable. There we go. Much smarter. So he wouldn't normally sit this far out in the open during the heat of the day. He was moved out to the edge to start hunting. He's got a dronga in tow. He's being a bit of an annoyance, but the dronga should be starting to roost soon. So there's a Varro's eagle owl. Definitely one of my favorite calls in the bush. Definitely one of my favorite bird calls. And you hear it in the early morning, late evening. Oh, you got a flight. I think that dronga flew quite close to him that time. See, there we go. The dronga is really harassing him. It's like, go away, you annoying little bird. So obviously the dronga, if it's planning to roost nearby, doesn't want a predator around. So that's what's going on there. If you hear a bit of banging, guys, it's just me jumping into my camera box. It's almost too good an opportunity to miss getting a shot. It's not often that they sit so nicely out in the open for us like this. I think this is my first Varro's eagle I've seen since I've been at Djuma. I've heard them quite a few times, but this is definitely the first, and if it isn't the first, it's by far the best sighting I've had since I have been with Wild Earth. So, if it is my first Varro's eagle owl, I'm trying to think how many owl species have I seen since we've been here now. We've got obviously the Varro's, we've seen pearl spotted owlet, we've seen African barred owl, and we've seen
Scops.
I haven't seen the scops since I've been here. I've heard them, and no, you're right, white-faced scops. Yes, little white-faced scops. I was with you when we saw that one. And then the more common, the eagle owl, the spotted eagle owl, which is the most common in this area normally. But always nice to see a new bird for me in this area. It seems like the dronga has decided to leave him a be for a while. Oh, starting to get a bit of spot of rain.
Yeah, rain's coming.
Let's have a look. Oh dear. Helps if you put a card in your camera, doesn't it? To take pictures. Sort of a prerequisite. So incredible hunters. So Now he's always scanning, listening. So that clicking is just my camera. Oh, he looked at, he's changed its positions. Hopefully he isn't going to fly just yet. Unfortunately, we can't see his talons from where we are. You can just see them coiling off the side there. You can see how big those talons are. One of the funniest sightings I've actually ever had in my life was in northern Botswana with a giant eagle owl and a rodent called a tiny fat mouse. The tiny fat mouse is minute. I mean, the whole body size is probably smaller than my thumb. And this eagle owl came swooping off a branch with those monster talons and tried to grab it, but the mouse was so small, it kept running between the talons, so the owl was hopping on the ground, kept trying to grab this mouse, and this little mouse just kept escaping. And eventually, it completely escaped and got away from the eagle owl. I'm sorry, from the Faroese. Yeah, it is an eagle owl. Faroese eagle owl. Oh, the dronga's back to harass. Oh, isn't that a beautiful sight? There you can just see the dronga flitting in and out of shot, trying to convince the owl to go somewhere else. Good evening, Anne-Marie from New Jersey. Anne-Marie would like to know what is the biggest prey a large owl like this could possibly take. Oh, it's a good question, Anne-Marie. Definitely scrub hares and genets. A domestic cat would be within its range. Any of your small dog breeds would also be within its range. I'd probably say somewhere around a bit bigger than a domestic cat or one of those small breeds of dogs. Smaller than a Jack Russell, but I think a Jack Russell will be a bit too big for them. But generally they feed on rodents, and probably the most common prey species for them in this area is a rodent called a bush-veld gerbil. It's quite a large gerbil. They're quite common in the grasslands here. We actually might start seeing a few more of them now as it dries up and we're going to get better visibility in the grass. They are very cute looking, but they're a perfect snack for an eagle owl. Watching the grass very carefully and listening. You can see how around the owl's eyes there's a white area, and that's to help catch all the ambient light out at night, so to make hunting easier. And you see very, very proportionally large eyes also shows you it's a nocturnal animal. And then those little ear tufts help to catch sound. Oh dear. Did you hear that, Brian? Mm-hmm. Big thunder back towards where our house is. We got wet last night. It's going to be quite funny. See if we're going to get wet tonight again. Oh, here he comes. Get ready for the dronga bomb. You can hear those drongas. They really don't like the owl being here. An eagle owl doesn't really pose too much threat to the drongas themselves, but they harass all predatory birds around them. I think the eagle owl wouldn't really, it's not a nest raider, but it is a predator, and most non-predators really just don't like having predators around them. So birds will often mob owls, and even during the day, just to chase them out of the general area that the other birds are in. But this owl sort of knows it's sort of becoming his time of the day or night, and the drongas are probably going to go to sleep, and they're not actually physically hitting him because they're also probably not too stressed because they're going to go have a nap. But a drongo just loves to chase things. Oh guys, just a little bit more update on the weather. We're starting to get quite a few big drops of rain. Hopefully it stays away. Oh, and there's lightning around us now as well. You can see that sky is getting very dark and ominous behind the owl. Laura would like me to show with my hand how big the eagle owl is. So, to give you an idea, Laura, it's probably around 70 centimeters. So probably about this big. If you have a look from my bottom hand, oh, I need to go further. So probably around that big from here to the base here. So yeah, fair-sized bird. Probably weighs around, it wouldn't weigh too much, probably a kilogram and a half. I was hoping we might see him go in for a kill, but he's, and you see an owl is a very patient predator. They'll sit in one spot and just listen and watch, sometimes for hours before they're able to grab something to eat. Okay guys, we're gonna let this guy get a bit of a break. Maybe he can catch something, and we're gonna cross across to Scotty for a little bit, but we will see you again a little bit later in the drive. So have fun with Scott.
Good evening and welcome back. Good timing. Just arriving back at Twin Dams in the hope that there's going to be a female leopard popping out here. Tracks were heading here this morning. And speaking of leopard, well done to Brent for finding what sounds like it could have been a mvula. And not only that, but also for finding the owl. So we got a good run of predators. One an aerial predator, and the other one that lives on the land. There were a few drops of rain falling earlier, but they have stopped now. I'm just going to stop here and listen for a moment as we shine the torch around, looking for anything. There doesn't seem to be anything here. Different permission, and we can off-road for different animals, but the guides in this area will strictly only be allowed to off-road for animals in the big five, as well as cheetah and wild dog. So it's lion, leopard, cheetah, wild dog, as well as rhino, buffalo and elephants. So those are the animals that most big game areas allow their guides to off-road on, or off-road for, and the rest of the animals need to be viewed from the road. In terms of rain and wet weather policies, in terms of where you can and can't off-road, that depends on the specific area, but often it's up to the guides to make a educated decision depending on how much rainfall there's been, depending on the type of the soil. There are certain soils that you would not want to even imagine or dare to drive in after it's rained, because they become very soft and you can find yourself getting stuck, which is not much fun, and it's one good way to frustrate your guests on the back of the vehicle, getting them stuck, wasting their safari time. So you typically avoid trying to get stuck at all costs, but it does happen from time to time. Well, all sounds peaceful and quiet over here, so we shall continue. So thankfully the heavens have not opened and it's not raining. Right, it rains, but hopefully only by the time we've got back to our camp half an hour from here. Because last night we got stuck in the rain, had 2 flat tires. It was a long and difficult journey that we ended up all having to crash here. And thankfully one of the lodges on Djuma, called Gallagher, didn't have any guests in it, and the camp manager very kindly let us all crash there. So we had a night of luxury, albeit a very late night. And wet. So we don't want to get caught in the rain again, but would love some more rain for the ecosystem because it has been a dry year. And as we head into winter, the chances of rain become less and less until the summer starts arriving around October, November. I believe you couldn't hear me very clearly, but I was just saying that it would basically be good to get some more rain here. But the signal appears to have improved, and now you can hear everything I say, so that's good news, and apologies for that little when I'm driving around at night. Okay, get ready, VM. There it is. Well done, VM. It's a little bush baby. It's not easy to see, but you can see it clambering around on the branches there. It's a small nocturnal primate that feeds mainly on the gum from trees. And it looks like it may be doing that now. They've got this incredible ability to be able to spring from branch to branch. And they can cover huge distances, up to 10 or 12 feet from a stationary spring in the dark. So, a very talented little animal, this, called the bush baby. Sadly, we cannot see this one very clearly. But I'm hoping it's going to jump. Watch closely. And you can see how VM's zooming out. He's ready and knows that when it does spring, it could spring right out of the shot if he was too zoomed in. Cute. I know it's not the best visuals, but the only chance of us getting a better visual is by sitting around and hoping that it hops out onto another branch. I was making that funny little squeaking noise. I've done it in the past, and on one occasion the bush babies came springing towards me, but it doesn't appear that that is going to happen again. It looks like it could be chewing on the bark in order to start the tree starting to allow the sap to ooze out, and it's that sap and gum that they feed predominantly on. Well, we're going to leave this little bush baby to it because I don't think we're going to get a better view. It's quite far away. But well done 2VM4 showing it to you all the way through there in those bushes. As I was saying, oh, look at this. Awesome. It's a frog. I'm trying to work out which kind. Looks like a tree frog. Well, hold on. No, that looks like a toad. That's a toad of some sort. And apologies, I'm still getting used to these spotlights, having been out of the presenter's chair for a while, so I'm not making VM's life easier. Not sure what kind of a toad this is, but it certainly does look to be a toad. The reason I around tonight is probably because there was a lot of moisture last night, and it can probably also sense the possibility of more moisture this evening. We're going to leave it and continue.
Welcome back, everyone. We've left that eagle owl. We're still working our way down the access road. Going to check around these drainage lines around Djuma Lodge, and also check around Quarantine. Maybe have a little gander down to the dam as well. We'll see. But temperature is now highly uncomfortable. I'm going to have to put on my jacket soon, so I'm just going to take my earpiece out for a second while I put my jacket on. I heard something running through the grass. You? Sorry? Oh, I wonder what that was. I just heard something. It could have been a bushveld gerbil, like we were talking about earlier, that the eagle owl will be waiting to pounce on. Get my big warm jacket. Oh, just give me a second there quickly. I'm just going to pop it on. Yay! Happiness. Oh no, I've done something. I hear radio shouting at me. Just hang on, guys. Yo, how are you? Good, thanks. How's it there, dude? We're live. I'll come give you a shout just now. Cheers, buddy. Here's one of the other guides, Liam from Sibambili. Looks like he's coming visiting. The manager's from Djuma. Oh, hang on, now let's try to find my ears again. Too many cables. And I very strange beep. I thought it was coming from the radio, but it doesn't seem to be. Okay. Here's the back end. Okay. go back to a question I asked you guys earlier, and that was, where is said to have the largest body-sized elephants on average in Africa, and where was the largest African elephant recorded, and how much did it weigh? So there's been quite a lot of answers. A lot of people have said Kenya, Tanzania, Botswana, and as far as I am aware, it is South Africa. And it is a place called Tembe Elephant Reserve, right near on the Zululand coast in KwaZulu-Natal. The Tembe elephant bulls are said to be the largest body size, and then probably after that, at the moment, it is a Kruger area. The Leopard also has very large-bodied elephant. Bularay is asking, well, how do you weigh a wild elephant? It must be quite difficult. Well, talking about that elephant, the heaviest ever recorded was just, I think it was 11 tons, which is crazy because your average elephant bull is probably 6 tons. So imagine like nearly double the size, and it was recorded in southern Angola. And the way they did it, unfortunately, it was a very long time ago. Probably in I think it was in the 30s, and the way they were able to determine the weight of that elephant is that it was actually hunted. So that's how they were able to weigh that elephant. Well, I don't know if you guys can see it in the lights as I pan, but we're getting quite a lot of raindrops now.
Here comes the rain.
Can you hear that, Brian? Anyway, we'll sort that out later. So guys, thanks very much for joining us this evening. It's been a bit of a tough one now, but not from lack of trying, and as you know, Scotty and I will never give up and hopefully find you guys something. Today we got a bit of luck, even though it was a very short sighting of the backside of Mbula. It was definitely worthwhile and great to be able to see him. Also really good from a knowledge point of view to know exactly where he is. Unfortunately, those tracks of a female leopard, which I think might be Karula, haven't come out in that Buffalo's Hook area. So maybe tomorrow morning, fingers crossed. I really am excited to try find Karula and see if she is pregnant or not. And well, other than that, it was a pretty quiet drive. Oh, we got a nice lapwing. I think that might be a new bird species for the Djuma list, which was the wattled lapwing. And a beautiful eel owl hunting up there. And other than that, it was a very quiet day, but a quiet day out here is better than a busy day in a city any day. I'm very lucky to live and work out in the bush. From all of us here at Wild Earth, thank you very much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the questions, and hopefully we'll see you all on the Sunrise Safari. Good night.